Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a very shocking show for you. Yeah, Georgia Tech has shocked FSU and beat them in Dublin, Ireland. I can't believe it. I am completely shocked.
If I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now.
Yeah, it's an amazing game. Wow, I didn't think Georgia Tech was that good. They played pretty well at the end of last year, and they wound up 7-6. And I thought, maybe they're getting things turned around a little bit, Brent Key, but I didn't think they'd be able to beat FSU. I just figured State would have just way too much talent for them. That didn't turn out to be the case. The big thing that they did, and let's get into the stats, as you can see right here, they ran for 190 yards. That was really the difference in the game. And you can see Florida State only ran for 98 yards with a 3.2 average, and Georgia Tech had 5.3. I really felt like the difference was the offensive line. Georgia Tech's O-line was just really good and kind of bullied Florida State's defensive line, which is what they're kind of known for, which that's very surprising. Now, Brent Key was actually the offensive line coach at Alabama for 3 years before he came over to Georgia Tech. And he took over in 2022 and went 4-4 when he was the interim head coach. And then last year had a winning season and looked pretty good. Honestly, they played well. And I thought, well, maybe that's just, they're in the ACC. Maybe they're not that good. They're pretty good, pretty darn good. And Haynes King, who I remember at Texas A&M, very good athlete. He was 11 for 16 with 146 yards, but he ran the ball 15 times for 54 yards and didn't turn the ball over. He did have 2 fumbles, but they recovered them both. Now, one of the fumbles was not his fault at all. Actually, I don't think either one were. But there weren't any turnovers in the game. That was pretty critical. Now, I will say FSU, God, their kicker kept him in the ball game. He hit a boomer of 52 yards. Then he hit a 59-yarder at the end of the first half. And Georgia Tech, who has a great kicker, missed one early in the game. So Georgia Tech really kind of outplayed them most of the game. And then finally hit that big kick at the end, just kind of slipped in there inside the left upright for probably the biggest win Georgia Tech's had in years and years. I mean, they got to be going crazy down in Georgia right now. And maybe Georgia Tech's kind of arriving right now. This Brent Key hire obviously has worked out pretty good. And I looked at how much he's making, about $2.8 million a year. If he continues down this path, that will increase, or he'll wind up going to one of the SEC schools that's going to fire their head coach, which that could be Arkansas, Florida, South Carolina, one of those top teams. I don't think he'd go to Vanderbilt.
How dare you!
And let's talk about Florida State. They've got DJ I call him Ukulele, Uigali. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Let's call him DJ. 19 for 27. He didn't score any touchdowns, which is disappointing. They ran for a couple, and he looked okay, but 19 for 27. He started out 9 for 10, and then he wound up, not playing as well towards the end. He made a couple of nice passes, but one of the things I was concerned about, he just doesn't quite have a nose for the end zone. And when they brought him into FSU, I was like, I don't know. He might not be the ideal fit. Last year they had Jordan Travis. That guy was a magician out there. He was a terrific quarterback. Definitely had a nose for the end zone. With DJ, he looks fantastic. 6'5", can run, 250. But I don't know. We'll see as the season goes further along, but I don't know. I wasn't thrilled with that transfer portal addition. So needless to say, I'm very surprised. I'm sure you are as well. Georgia Tech, I got to start thinking they're for real, and they might be able to compete for the ACC championship. I can't believe I'm saying it, but
I got to do something here. I still can't believe it.
It's not out of the question. They've got a solid enough quarterback. Their offensive line is really good. If they can move the ball like this on FSU, they can probably move the ball on anybody in the ACC. So I look for them to have a heck of a season. You never know. They might win 8, 9, 10 ball games. And with the ACC being kind of wide open right now, you never know. Clemson's not exactly killing it. And FSU was the prohibitive favorite to win the ACC. Right now they've got a loss. So that's really difficult. And we'll see what Miami does. And a couple of other teams. North Carolina will have a say in this. NC State. But Georgia Tech, you better take them serious because they can run that ball. And if you can control the clock the way they did, they ran the clock down big time. So here we are starting the season out with really a huge upset in my opinion. The Georgia Tech people may not see it that way, but I certainly think everybody from the outside looking in definitely see it as that. So we have begun the season with a game that I was not expecting to be exciting at all, and it wound up being a barn burner. And of course, next week, everything gets rolling, and we got some big ball games. I believe Georgia's playing Clemson. Yeah, that's at noon. That's a huge game. Saturday, Penn State's playing West Virginia. My team, Tennessee, we're playing UT Chattanooga. It's a warm-up game. Then we play NC State the next game in week 2 at a neutral site. So that'll be a really fun game to watch. And I'll be glued to the TV on that one. So anyway, big shocker. Week 0, who'd have thought? And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 hit that little button. Won't cost you a dime. Help me out a little bit. And right over here is the most recent video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.